into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Mild temperatures again today into the mid-50s. The clouds overhead are increasing, but they're thin clouds. Not a problem for us during the day today, although overnight, those clouds will start to produce some rain. So we'll see some rain in the morning tomorrow. Should be out of here by about lunchtime. But temperatures will be in the low to mid-50s in the morning and drop into the 40s by the afternoon. So falling temperatures and very windy with that rain through about lunchtime. And then it's turning a little cooler on Friday. I'm KMOV First Alert Meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
Bring joy to the world, it's the thing to do. But the world does not revolve around you. Don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Happy holidays. Welcome to Colombo Company on News Talk STL.
Indeed, welcome to Colombo and Company. Another busy day, Wednesday afternoon, and a lot to talk about. Thank you for being with us. I am Tony Colombo in studio, and we have some division in the Republican Party regarding Obamacare and subsidies and health care plan. We're going to get to that as we go through the day. We also have a really sad report about youth sports in America and how it is something that kids are leaving at a much earlier age than in the past due to all kinds of issues. I'm sure the boys playing girls sports issue plays into this at some level, the cost of it, the intensity of youth sports these days than maybe in past generations. But this new report, there's a lot of details in here, and we'll unpack it a little bit later on in the show. But 70% of American kids are quitting organized sports by the age of 13. And that is crazy. So we'll talk about that as we go through the day. The latest coming out of the White House and the controversy surrounding the Trump administration and the Chief of Staff Wiles and all of that. That's been happening over the last 24 hours. We're getting ready for the president to speak today. He's going to be speaking this evening. We'll be carrying that here on the station, and we'll preview what we think the president could be addressing tonight as we go through the show. Also, a New York Times piece calling out Nancy Pelosi in her final year of being in Congress. It's about time, New York Times, calling her out for the incredible amount of wealth she has accumulated during her 40 years in Congress. So we'll unpack that report as well. And we've got help as we go through the day today. In the 3 o'clock hour, we'll have some fun and open up Klose's cabinet. We'll talk to Mark Klose from KC95, Skip Weber from Weber Chevrolet. Also coming up in about a half an hour, we'll be joined by the former mayor of Ferguson, the current city manager of Troy, Missouri, James Knowles. Mayor Knowles will be with us. And starting the show with us, we are on a busy day. You got to bring the big guns. And that's what we have done today. The legendary Larry Connors is in studio with us. Great to see you. Larry Connors USA, of course, every weekday, 6 p.m. here on News Talk STL. And this afternoon, you will be teeing up the president. You'll be you'll be warming up. You'll be the warm-up act for the president.
I'm setting the stage for him, setting high expectations, and he will be on the air right after we finish Larry Connors USA from 6 to 8, right at 8 o'clock. The President of the United States.
And we will be carrying that right here on the station. So, you'll be listening to Larry's show already. So you don't have to go anywhere. Just stay right here, and we'll bring you that speech from the president. I don't know if it's intentional or not, Larry, but they seem to be kind of tight-lipped about this speech. Usually we kind of have a pretty good idea about what the president is going to speak about whenever he announces one of these primetime addresses. But they haven't really.
I think it's just a rah-rah. And Carolyn Levitt indicated he's going to talk about his accomplishments and things to come. He's got a lot to talk about as far as accomplishments. And, of course, the midterm is looming, so he's trying to show here at the end of the year how much he's accomplished, and he has. I mean, Joe Biden could not have done such a speech after his first year. I mean, if he would even remember.
Well, Joe Biden couldn't speak.
Yeah, that's true.
Either. So.
But, I mean, this man is a dynamo. I mean, I don't know really how many hours of sleep he gets, but he just keeps going. And not just him, but the people around him and everything he's been introducing and pushing. And we got some Republicans that are wishy-washy again, and they're mumbling and rumoring and gossiping. Get on board or get out of the way.
So, gosh, there's so many things I want to ask you about. I've been, it's that time of year I've been doing with most of my guests here over the last week or so, and, doing recaps of the year and asking, folks, my guests, how you would grade the president in this year and what are you looking forward to coming up. So if we have some time, we'll get to that kind of stuff in a minute. But you just brought up the divide in some of these Republicans that are mumbling and maybe causing some division and some problems. Specifically, 4 moderate House Republicans are rebelling against Speaker Mike Johnson to join his Democratic counterpart, Hakeem Jeffries, of course, in forcing a vote on enhanced Obamacare subsidies set to expire at the end of the year. Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick, Ryan McKenzie, Rob Breshenham.
I think that's right.
That's a new one.
You're close.
And Mike Lawler. Yeah. A lot of these guys, you've read their names before. I think that's a new one. I think that's the first time I've had to read that name.
So show you what he's contributed.
Great point. Yeah. Those 4 joined a discharge petition by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on his push for a 3-year extension of the subsidies. A discharge position is a mechanism for overriding the will of House leaders to get a chamber-wide vote on specific legislation, provided it has support from a majority of lawmakers, which it will now. With those 4, that does give enough. That gives the majority to Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats to move forward on this vote.
That is why the midterms are so important. We had such a narrow majority, and many of them will not stay on their side of the aisle. And I don't know for what reason. I mean, I don't know if they think they can make political hay at Trump's expense or what their plans are, but they're not helping the nation.
They're not. And, it's the swamp. It's politics. It's always all about your next election and winning your next election. And, from reading this, the only motivation I can see for these 4 Republican congressmen is that they are in, purple districts.
Yep.
And they want to hold on to their seat. And they think that by doing this, it looks like they are trying to, address the healthcare issue.
Yeah, that is someone I want in Congress, a sellout.
Exactly.
That sells their principles and everything else.
And it's a lie.
Yeah.
And it's not true.
No.
It's like, I don't understand why these Republicans would instead endorse the Democratic lie that Obamacare is working and Obamacare is the way to lower healthcare prices and address the healthcare issue in this country, because it's not work. It's a broken system. It's not working for the people that it's supposed to work for. It's costing
but Tony, it's called the Affordable Care Act. and originally when that was introduced, I was working with a co-anchor at Channel 4 at the time, and I started calling it Obamacare, and she got upset. It's Affordable Care Act. You just say Obama because you don't like Obama. I said, well, actually, just today, Obama said, I kind of like it being called Obamacare. Yeah. He wanted his name on it.
I was going to say, I remember the Democrats referring to it as Obamacare.
It's certainly not Affordable Care Act.
No, it is not. The Democrats are famous for that. They're very good at labeling things. But the labels are very often misleading. And so what I wonder here, Larry, is how is it better for these 4 Republicans that feel like that they, may lose their seat and they're trying to, appear bipartisan or whatever it is. How is it better for them to lie to their constituents and Americans in general and invalidate this agenda from the Democrats that Obamacare is valid and working and all? Why is it better for them to validate Democrats and look instead of exposing the lie? Like, I don't know why that makes them, in their minds, more vulnerable to losing an election. Tell the truth, expose the lie, and how does that put you in a worse place than selling out your word?
They have no convictions. They have no shame. Yeah. And between those two, they'll go in any direction the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And it's a bad look. And look, this is Republicans do this all the time. And this is my biggest fear. And here we can talk a little bit about, expectations and what you expect to see and maybe what you hope to see in the new year as we get closer and closer to those midterm elections. It doesn't do the Republican Party in general any good at all for Republicans to validate a Democrat lie.
No.
So not only does this I don't think put them in a better position in their own specific races, but I think it also above that, it validates a false narrative from Democrats going into a very important election year.
Somewhere they have calculated, okay, I have red, I have blue, and I'm in a purple area. I will lose some red, but I'll get more blue, so that will keep me alive.
Yeah, I guess.
Somewhere they made that calculation, and I hope the door slams them in the face.
I hope so, too. But we talk about how good Democrats are at labeling things and about misleading the American people about their plans and their policies and things like that, and how we've seen Republicans historically have a harder time circling the wagons and staying together. Very often it's Republicans that are their own worst enemy and shoot themselves in the foot. So with all of that in mind, how do you feel about going into this new year? How are you feeling about the momentum and what Republicans need to focus on in order to try to maintain control after these midterm elections? Because this is not a great start.
Yeah, I am not a 100% Trumper. Yeah. I've made that clear from the years ago when he first came on the front page in the stage. Mm-hmm. A lot of the ideas I like, a lot I don't. Sometimes I think he should keep his mouth shut and stay off the Twitter, true social machine. But I look at what he's done for our country and how much we've improved. Gas prices are down, going to be the lowest in 20 years. And they want to point to how Biden brought them down. Well, he stole from our petroleum reserve to make sure the prices stayed low so it would make him look good. But that's not doing anything for America. And the lack of leadership, Senator Coons out there now saying, and the Hill carried his story saying he confirmed that it was wrong for us to hit these cocaine boats. He confirmed, well, the Hill publication is already leftist, and they're putting a confirmation on it, and that's a stamp of approval. No, it's not. It's his opinion, his view. And I also have a senator today, Congressman Fry, I want to say, I may be wrong about that, who was a Navy SEAL. He said, I have participated in those in the past. And folks that say we should just interdict these cocaine boats, you want your son or your daughter climbing on a boat loaded with cocaine and men who would kill you on an instant, as opposed to just dropping something on the sky, no U.S. troops involved as far as casualties. What makes better sense? Oh, let's go out and interdict that boat, put our troops in, and good luck with that.
It's like the argument that we hear all the time about when there's a mass shooter or something like that, or you hear well, did you try to shoot him in the hand?
Yeah.
Did you try to shoot him in the leg?
Right.
Beforehand? Like, it's so unrealistic and they know that. The Democrats know that.
Yeah.
But they still try to push that narrative onto the American people.
And you look at what happened in Australia. You know what their biggest push again is? It's not that they've had all these terrorists come in unvetted, unchecked, and they continue to bring them in. They're focused on we need more gun control laws.
We talked about that a whole
well,
lot
you
on
know
the
what?
show yesterday.
I think there is a law to begin with, thou shalt not kill. They broke that law. Wouldn't make any difference how they did it. They broke it.
Yeah, that is what is happening over there. That is a travesty. Not only the tragedy itself, but the continued reluctance by the Australian leaders to just call out the terrorists that are guilty of this. And try to, blame it on the guns or
I'm sharing with the audience tonight a piece written by Sean Fleetwood with the Federalist, saying every time we embrace this kind of stuff is to the demise of Western civilization.
Yeah. So we only got a couple minutes left here with Larry Connors. Like that voice needs any introduction. You know who I'm talking to. You mentioned that the president's speech tonight, 8:00 our time Central, will be carrying right here on News Talk STL immediately following Larry Connors USA. You said that that right now we haven't really learned anything about what the topics of the speech are going to be, and you said that you think it's going to be a rah-rah speech. I've been saying that going into 2026, that the Republicans, the president as well, but Republicans in general, need one of the things that I would like to see them focus on is maybe not more rah-rah speeches, but doing a better job of clearly articulating the successes and the good things that have happened.
Great point.
Under the Trump administration.
Great
because
point.
I don't feel like, when you just say something like we've cleaned up the border, that's fine, but show the numbers, show the stats that, that this time last year it was 3,000 people a day or whatever, and, down to, 0 or 1, whatever it is now. Like really show the prices and the percentages and the numbers and the stats that back up the actions and the things that you have done in your first full year in control as a Republican Party and as a.
But of course, the gullible left will say that's fabricated. That's all.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not going to buy the truth.
They will not. But I think that one of the things that they need to focus on is not just making their case that their plan is a better plan, but to show those successes as clearly as you can. Because sometimes when you read the numbers or you see the differences in prices or, whatever stats, whatever issue you're talking about, sometimes it's very stark. And it really, I think, does a better job of telling the whole story and showing the impact.
I'll give you a number from Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
Walking away from EVs. Now they don't know how to, they're going to have to take a $14 billion charge against their efforts. And they're dropping their Ford truck line. That's all EV.
The electric F-150.
Yeah. The Lightning. They're going to walk away. And well, they should, because now the automakers, as they stood around Trump the other day and he said, we're going to drop all the CAFE standards. They realize we can build cars people want and will buy, and we won't have to shove it and say, you get this or nothing. That didn't fly.
Yeah.
Didn't fly.
And remember when I talked about this about a week ago, it's been pointed out by several news outlets lately that as AOC continues to ascend
and Jazz.
But all of a sudden she's not giving the same dates as she did when she introduced the Green New Deal, because some of those dates are right around the corner. All right. Or that, we'll be, we'll be beyond repair by 2030. And now that's, in 2026, that's only a few years away now. And when people are asking her now, like, would you still stand by those dates? It's like, deflection.
Yeah.
Because they were all lies. And those, and this Ford story, I think, is a perfect example of that, because it was even Biden was on board with that, saying that we got to get rid of all gas powered vehicles in the next.
And California
20 years.
was going to.
In California, but a lot of those, but a lot of that's being reversed, and we've already seen, and Ford is paying the price.
Yeah.
They made an investment in these electric vehicles, and they're not selling. People don't want them.
And if people want one, good. It's your choice. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when they're only going to do that, and they basically fired a lot of people working on the combustion engine. Now they're going to hire everybody back. They got to retool. They got to shut down the EV stuff and taking a loss.
Yeah.
That's good business work.
So, before we let you go, Larry, getting back to the, looking forward to 2026 and how important that's going to be in the midterm elections and the balance of power hanging in those elections. How do you feel right now at the end of 2025 about the momentum, if there is any, that the Republican Party has going into 2026? Are you feeling strong and good about their chances of maintaining power, or do you feel like they've got a lot of work to do?
I'm going to have some fun with you here.
Yes, please.
To me, feel is an emotion.
Yeah.
I feel something. I'll tell you what I think.
Yes. Yes. What do you think? Yes.
I think we're going to continue to make great strides. We are. And the midterm, I don't know really where that's going to come down, but it's not going to stop this steamroller. And 2 years after that, we'll redo it again. And if some of the people make stupid voting decisions in the midterm, it will hamper what he's trying to do. But come the next 2-year term, and that's the beauty of Congress. Every member of Congress is up for re-election every 2 years, and we will hold them to account. I'll give you a clue of what I've got coming up tonight on our, this new feature I started, the story behind the story. We're getting a lot of great response, and gives me a chance. This is in the 6 o'clock hour to get away from daily news and that kind of stuff. And the other night, that story very close and dear to me, the tragic death of Mary Phelan, was part of the story behind the story. And tonight, the story behind the story is the tragedy of Payne Stewart and the ghost plane that flew across our nation.
Yeah.
And everybody on board was dead.
Yeah. What an incredible story, and something that I had not thought about in a while, and a story that I don't think very many people know the details of.
Many won't remember it all, or were too young to know.
Yeah.
1999.
Payne Stewart was
it just won the Open in
he was
June
a rock
of that year.
star.
Yeah.
He was a rock star, when golf was just starting to, Tiger Woods
had
obviously
the Tiger Woods
everything.
thing, and then you had Payne Stewart. Yeah.
But he was one of those personalities, and I'm not comparing him to Tiger Woods, but he was one of those personalities that was bringing new fans, new eyeballs to golf,
and
a new
his
attitude.
His outfit, the knickers, going back to the old days.
Yeah,
it was a style that was outstanding in the sense of capturing attention. Yeah,
and a bizarre, tragic end of his life where they pass away in the plane, but the plane continues to fly.
So we talk about the decision to shoot it down, if they were considering that or not.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to
that'll be part of the story behind the story tonight.
That's fantastic. Larry Connors USA every afternoon, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on News Talk STL. And tonight, as we mentioned, right after Larry Connors USA, the president will be speaking, and we will be carrying that speech at 8 p.m. Our time here. So when Larry's show is over, don't go anywhere. Stick around for the president.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for inviting me again.
Yeah, great to see you, Larry. Thanks
always
for your time. Yeah, great stuff there. Larry Connors USA tonight, 6 p.m. All right, as I mentioned, the former mayor of Ferguson, current city manager of Troy, Missouri, our friend Mayor James Knowles. He's going to be with us in a few minutes. Before that, I want to tell you about this New York Times article calling out former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi here in her final year, or getting ready to be her final year of her long tenure in Congress. The New York Times calling her out for all the wealth she somehow accumulated, hundreds of millions of dollars in her time in Congress. So we'll fill you in on those details and more next.
I just stood there with Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu beef French dip. So good. It's the au jus that makes it. And the Wagyu beef is pretty good, too. I love Capriati's, and you will, too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Louis Gohmert, he's a former congressman.
Bob Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. And so I snuck my transistor radio in my shirt and had the little earpiece into my ear and tried to keep my head turned where the teacher wouldn't see, but was listening to the World Series in class.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newsteader's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, WowDiamonds.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story, the deadly plane crash of golfer Payne Stewart.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Don't cry to me if you loved me. You would be here with me. You loved me.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Thanks again to Larry Connors from Larry Connors USA for joining us in that first segment. We are going to talk to the former mayor of Ferguson, Missouri, Mayor James Knowles, current city manager up there in Troy, in just a few moments. I want to get into that story about youth sports in America. This is these stats are alarming, and I'm going to talk to the mayor about that and more as we go through the afternoon. Here, real quick, before we talk to James, the New York Times has called out former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi this week, arguing she's ending her career with an asterisk due to her stance on congressional stock trading. Pelosi is retiring in 2027 after 40 years in Congress. Jeez. Will leave office as the most powerful woman in American political history. Unfortunately, that is, I think, accurate. The widespread perception is that she was on the wrong side of the debate over congressional stock trading and personally benefited from the practice. That has put an asterisk on her legacy, the Times reported. Pelosi does not personally own or trade stocks, but her husband, venture capitalist Paul Pelosi, actively does. They have grown exponentially wealthier amid her time in office, a correlation that has raised eyebrows on both sides of politics. Critics argue that they have benefited from essentially having insider knowledge, which, they have through her time as an influential politician. The Times stated, quote, as bipartisan fervor has grown to prevent congressional stock trading, Pelosi failed to appreciate the groundswell of support for banning the practice, refusing to give an inch amid GOP accusations that she was corrupt. The Times further reported that anonymous sources close to Pelosi agreed that her history of benefiting from stock trades while serving was a blemish on her otherwise historic legacy. Well, those are her friends, and I'm glad that they're willing to admit that. But I feel like there's several more blemishes that we could talk about. Quote, her main reason for resisting the idea, the people close to her said, was that Republicans targeted Miss Pelosi personally in their efforts to address the matter. She did not want to cede any ground to attacks that implied that she was corrupt. It got so bad at one point that somebody created the Pelosi tracker as like a way as a guide for investors to follow. Like if Nancy Pelosi's doing something, or Paul Pelosi's, making a move or investing in something or getting out of an area, then that's probably a sign that you should do that as well. I mean, how much more evidence do you need? Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley, was quoted by the Times saying, quote, "You can't argue with the return on Nancy Pelosi's time in Congress. She outperformed the S&P 500 by more than double in 2024. Pelosi has reported a trade volume of $56.9 million over just the past 3 years, according to Capital Trades. In response, a spokesperson for Pelosi declared, quote, "Speaker Pelosi does not own any stocks and has no knowledge of subsequent involvement in any transactions." Yeah, right. On the heels of this, as I read this piece last night, I was reading this. I went and just looked up a couple of stats on my own. So right now, because she's no longer in a leadership position, she's obviously, no longer speaker. She's not the minority leader for the Democrats. Right now, as a representative for California's 11th congressional district, her salary is $174,000 a year. When she was serving as Speaker of the House, her salary was a little higher at $223,500 a year. And yet she has an estimated net worth between $250 and $300 million after a life in Congress. That is wild. And it's interesting to see the New York Times, taking shots and calling out Pelosi. They would have never have done that when she was speaker, or when there didn't seem to be any end to her reign of terror. But now, as the end is near and there's not as much blowback to fear, I wonder if there will be other media outlets that are going to be critical in writing pieces like this in the coming months as Pelosi serves out her final year in Congress. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. All right, we are going to get Mayor James Knowles, the former mayor of Ferguson, current city manager of Troy, Missouri. He is going to join us. Wanted to talk about this new report on youth sports that I see as a major warning sign, and some other issues as we continue a busy Wednesday afternoon here on Colombo Company.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Analysis, opinion.
He lines up 4 deals with countries.
Trump signed trade and mineral deals with Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam.
He's a great leader. 101.9 and 94.1.
Number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
When water troubles strike, call the family you can trust. Tim Jones here for Ambassador Plumbing, serving our community since 2018 with 25 years of master plumbing expertise from Tim Morris and his handpicked team. Whether it's a simple faucet repair or a complete bathroom remodel, if water runs to it or through it, they do it. From residential service calls to commercial to new construction, the folks at Ambassador are your neighbors treating you like family. Ambassador Plumbing, where faith meets craftsmanship. 636-383-6932 or ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Hey, it's Vic. If you have a tree that you think is dead, you can get Roots Plus to remove it for you. Or if you think the tree is savable, or if Roots Plus thinks it's savable, they can save your tree and you keep your cash. Call them and find out what that's all about at 314-440-3662. The crews are great. They get things done. They removed the tree for me, and they did expert work, and I definitely will put my name on their company. So save the tree with Roots Plus LLC. RootsPlusLLC.com.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week, it's our holiday comedy show. Even if flying reindeer might pull 10 times more than normal reindeer, Santa would need 214,000 reindeer to pull the sleigh, traveling at 650 miles an hour, heating the reindeer. The lead reindeer, as a result, will burst into flames.
Brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. News Talk STL.
Merry Christmas.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
I am so high, I can hear heaven.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Gonna have some fun, open up Klose's cabinet in the 3 o'clock hour this afternoon when we are joined by Mark Klose from KC95. Before that, joining us on the line right now is the former mayor of Ferguson, Missouri, current city manager in Troy. Mayor James Knowles is with us. How are you, Mr. Mayor?
Tony, always a pleasure to be here.
For sure. So, this is not the topic that I intended to talk to you about today when I was first scheduling you, and then I read this report a couple hours before the show, and I thought, I got to talk about this, and I know you'll have definitely some thoughts on this, so I wanted to share it with you. This is new to me as well, and I haven't really seen anybody else talking about this. So this is, I think, a lot of new information for folks, but very important. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill heard warnings yesterday about the skyrocketing cost of youth sports, pushing American families to the sidelines and raising economic and health concerns. So one of the big headlines of this, one of the stats that really grabbed my attention is that today as we wrap up 2025, 70% of kids quit organized sports by the age of 13 for various reasons. And I find that to be alarming because I mean, in our generation, not only were sports, fun and competitive and things like that, but it also was, one of the best ways that you could learn teamwork and camaraderie and to work, not alone, but as a team towards a larger goal. There's so many, you learn so many other lessons from being involved in sports, and we'll unpack this as we go, but due to things like costs and the singular focus, how kids have to put in so much time and basically pick a sport. It's not like, you can play four or five multiple sports, as a kid, as you could when you were, in our age, our generation. And all of that, all those and more combined are pushing kids out of sports at a pretty young age. And that is that's a bad sign for the future, I think. James, what do you think?
I think so. And I appreciate you probably thought of me because you and I both have daughters who chose the most expensive, time-consuming sport on the planet, which is gymnastics.
Yes.
So it takes
my
up
goodness.
our entire lives and our entire budgets. I'm lucky my son's a wrestler, so all he needs is some shoes. Because my daughter takes up all of the other, money, free money for sports.
Yeah.
But I think the other part of that is, and gymnastics is one of it. I will just say, because my daughter, that's the only thing she does, sports-wise. And it is all consuming, like all year. My son plays soccer, he plays baseball, he wrestles. He's still young enough that he's not on like traveling teams all over the country. We do travel some for wrestling actually, but I think part of the issue is these teams, these sports. When you and I were kids, there was like 3 seasons, right? We played, we each played a sport in this particular season that kind of kept us busy all year. Now you got kids who are like, I've got people up here in Troy that play on a baseball team, and they just spent the last couple of weeks in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like took their kids out of school, like middle school kids missing 2 weeks of school to go down to Florida to play baseball in the wintertime. And I'm like, my parents would have never done that. I played baseball at the Ferguson Athletic Association from time I was in 1st grade to 8th grade. And, I didn't play baseball in high school, but I was all into wrestling and I did tennis too. But, I think there's a lot of these sports that, there are kids that are all in, it's like all year long. And then the price is just crazy. I mean, gymnastics is one of those. My daughter asked me the other day, she goes, "When is gymnastics season over?" I'm like, "Babe, you know it's never over."
It's never over.
I was like, "You guys take like a month off in the summer to get it out of your system. Family go on vacation, and then bam, you're back into it." But we're going all over the place: Salina, Kansas, Knoxville, Tennessee. For an not an eighth grader. I'm sorry, an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
To go out there and compete.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like crazy. And my wife was asking me, I wonder if Delaney would like to play soccer. I'm like, when is she going to do that? She has 3-hour practices 3 days a week at 8 years old. That is not really conducive to other sports. So
yeah.
And the cost, just lucky that mommy and dad are successful career-wise. I couldn't imagine how anybody else does it. And to be honest, we try to do our best to help other people out, handing things down, but to other people who are in athletics that, the cost of this stuff is just skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, wrestling shoes last about 6 months, because you grow out of them, and the dang things are $100 for a 9-year-old. So,
yeah, I had no idea about gymnastics until my daughter got into it. It's been years now, but I grew up. You
warned me. I should have listened.
Yeah, I did. I grew up with just a brother. So we only had boys' sports when I was growing up, and hockey was always the whoa, that's the expensive sport. The boys' expensive sport. But man, who knew about the cost of gymnastics? But it really is the cost now of just about every sport. And that's I want to read some of this report here, because it really does highlight some of it. It's not just the physical cost, but it's the time cost. And, my daughter now is in high school, and she tried out for cheerleading, and she made the varsity cheerleading team as a freshman, which is a huge accomplishment. And that is because of her gymnastics skills. But now it's like just, being a cheerleader and being a gymnast, it's almost impossible for her to do both. And I don't know that she can do both for a very extended period of time, which is just ridiculous that she can't do two, sports or activities that she loves to do because it's too much of a burden on her time as a high school student. And, neither coach likes to, for you to be at the other practice, like missing one sport for the other. And that's another problem. But here, let me get into some of these details here. $40 billion a year, according to $40 billion a year, according to our research, is flowing through youth sports, said Tom Fari, the founder and executive director of the Aspen Institute's Sports and Society program. He goes on, and that's just the parents' spend. That's not the public spend. That's not private equity. That's almost twice as much money as is flowing through the NFL. That is crazy. The average cost for a child to play a sport is more than $1,000 per year, representing a 46% increase since 2019. According to the Aspen Institute, today, 70% of kids quit organized sports by the age of 13, the group warned. Fari attributed the numbers to the shift away from local recreational leagues in favor of travel leagues. You just touched on that require more commitment. Travel leagues have expanded in recent years from the high school level all the way down to early elementary school. And he says, quote, and once we create these trial-based travel teams, which are often private, the cost goes from a couple $100 a year to several $1,000s a year. And it starts structurally pushing aside a lot of kids who can't afford it. Just 24% of kids from low-income homes play recreational sports compared to 40% of kids from high-income homes, according to a 2021 survey from the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. And then it goes into the time. Time is another factor. Our research shows that the average family spends 3 hours and 20 minutes a day on their kids' youth sports. It's crazy. It takes what is supposed to be an outlet, James. This is supposed to be a time for, you take your sport seriously and you play to win, and you gotta make that commitment, but it's not committing your entire life. And it's almost like if you want to compete, if you want to play a sport at a high level as a kid, you have to pick one sport And you have to basically say, okay, I'm going to give this one sport all my time and all my attention. And that's not the, I don't know. That's not what youth sports is supposed to be, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Well, I think part of that, they touched on a number of things, but I look back at like my experience. We had a Ferguson Athletic Association when I was a kid. Every kid for a minimal amount of money could play a sport. And I mean, they had some select teams, but I mean, now it seems like everything is select, right? And there is no, Ferguson Athletic Leagues. There's that are playing over at BMAC and over at Coke Park, over in Florissant, traveling around in those. If you're not in the Catholic CYC League, you don't have that opportunity unless you're on like one of these select teams. And I think, so then again, you've got the select teams that are highly time intensive and cost intensive. So you got a lot of kids that don't have that opportunity. And those more rec leagues, I think, have gone away. I think city budgets, municipal budgets, parks budgets have all kind of, dwindled as far as supporting those. And people look at other, private groups to run these things instead of like the old cities. The city would have like these rec leagues.
Sure.
Kids could just,
we called it FA.
Casually,
we played mine was the one on WeHop in Florissant, and it was we called it FA because it was FAAAA, what Florissant Amateur Athletic Association, whatever it was, but it was FA, and like you said, BMAC and these other places, that you played at, that had all these recreational leagues as we, when we were growing up, that's not the way they do it anymore.
And I look at like my parents, I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, do you realize how much time mommy and daddy puts into you guys doing this stuff? I look back at my memory of my childhood and, my parents went to my games, but I don't recall the amount of effort or time. Like my parents, either they would drop off us at the practice or drop us off at something and, pick us up later, or, maybe have a couple of parents carpool the kids there and back. But I mean, I feel like, and I know you felt this way too, we've talked about it, my life, the moment like we get out of work, is pick up the kids from practice, take them to practice, stay at practice. I help coach the wrestling team. I've been doing that for years. So, like I tell my wife, I'm at practice, a couple hours, working with these kids. It's just nonstop. And so,
and you have a couple kids, you have the man, that's the pressure on one kid and the parents for one kid is immense.
Yeah.
You have 2 or 3 kids that are trying, wanting to play sports, and then it's, it becomes next to impossible.
Can you blame a kid when he gets into 8th grade and he's been busting his butt? Like all of his time has been dedicated to this for like 8 years or more. And then he's like, hey, you got some freedom. Do you want to keep doing this? And he's like, dude, I just want to not do this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's or they bad. Get to high school and they realize like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing I'm not trying to play varsity. I'm not trying to do this. Like, I just want to do something else.
Yeah, it's like every program is geared to the pros. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I kind of experienced that when I went to college. I mean, I was all in wrestling and got a wrestling scholarship, and then I got to college and I was like, you know what? There's other things I want to do in college than wrestle all the time. And part of me wishes I would have completed, finished that out. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of kids that are probably getting burnt out. At the level that they're being almost forced to play now.
Yeah.
On these leagues.
Yeah.
By the time they get to high school or middle school, they're like, I'm done.
Yeah. When I played baseball as a kid, we had 1 or 2 days a week that we practiced for like an hour, and then you had your games,
right.
And that was it. It is just so much more intense now.
We got 2 and 3 games a week now.
Exactly.
On top of practice.
And then you have this madness of, there's a story. We're almost out of time here, but there's a story out of Maine about an 8-year-old boy. You speaking about your daughter, 8-year-old boy trying to join the girls' recreational basketball team, and madness like that also doesn't help the situation surrounding youth sports. But I thought just a really important topic that has not been discussed by anybody. And when I saw this report and I saw this, was being discussed by lawmakers on Capitol Hill this week, I thought it was really important to get that information out there, and really appreciate your time and for joining me for that conversation. James Knowles, former Mayor of Ferguson, current city manager in Troy, Missouri. Thanks so much for your time, my friend, and look forward to talking again very soon. Have a great rest of the day.
Merry Christmas, Tony.
Yeah, back at you, buddy. Great stuff. Thank you. Speaking of Christmas, don't forget about our holiday food drive. There's just a few days left in the News Talk STL holiday food drive. Find all the details about it by going to our website, newstalkstl.com. But we have teamed up with the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee for a food drive benefiting Feed My People right here in St. Louis. The food drive ends on December 21st. So still a few days to make a donation at all three Bartolino's locations, both Chris's Pancake locations, and all three Michael's Flooring Outlet locations. Again, get all the details at newstalkstl.com. All right, we are going to have some fun and open up Klose's cabinet next on Colombo Company.
Hey, how you doing? Santa Vic here.
And Santa's head Vic head here.
And you can win some great prizes with News Talk STL's St. Louis Conservative Christmas.
You forgot the ho, ho, ho. You forgot the ho, ho, ho.
Oh!
No, ho, ho.
Oh! Log on to newstalkstl.com for your chance to win great prizes from Ami's Pizzeria and Restaurant, Small Cakes Cupcakery and Creamery, and Gulf Shores Restaurant, Food Truck and Catering. newstalkstl.com.
Oh!
Looking for treasures from the past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6 at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Looking for a gift sure to please? Simply go to Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You get a gift card, you choose the value, then they can use it at any of the Napoli locations. Plus, you want to surprise them with something totally unexpected? Walk a few doors down, Lit Cigar Lounge. That gift card can be used for premium cigars, lighters, decorative ashtrays. Once again, you made someone happy. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta and Lit Cigar Lounge.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. 4 Republican lawmakers joined with Democrats to force a vote on extending Obamacare subsidies.
The stunning move came after GOP leadership announced there wouldn't be an up or down House vote on the ACA tax credits that expire in 2 weeks. The 4 moderate Republicans broke with House Speaker Mike Johnson and signed onto a Democratic-led petition that will force a House vote on extending the subsidies for 3 years as early as January. The 4 GOP lawmakers say their constituents need the extension to offset soaring monthly premiums. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump today traveling to Dover Air Force Base to witness the transfer of 2 Iowa National Guard members killed in an attack in Syria. The president also set to deliver a year-end address to the nation tonight. The Senate has given final passage to an annual military policy bill that will authorize $901 billion in defense programs. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker.
We're about to pass, and the president will enthusiastically sign the most sweeping upgrades to DOD's business practices in 60 years.
New York's governor says she has reached a deal with state lawmakers to legalize medically assisted suicide, even though it's a controversial topic. Correspondent Julie Walker has more.
In an op-ed in the Albany Times-Union Wednesday, Hochul said she supports the proposal, but has made a deal with lawmakers to include guardrails in the measure before she signs it into law. Hochul, a Catholic, said she came to the decision after hearing from New Yorkers in the throes of pain and suffering, as well as their children, while also considering opposition from individuals of many faiths who believe that deliberately shortening one's life violates the sanctity of life. Julie Walker, New York.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments, but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We have some changes coming for Thursday. Expect some scattered showers in the morning, even a rumble of thunder. This kind of tapers off right around noon. It dries out for the afternoon, but it will turn cooler. So warmer in the morning in the mid-50s, falling to the 40s in the afternoon, and then 30s by evening. A very windy day, too. Some gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. And it sets us up for a cold but dry one Friday. Mostly sunny, a low of 24 and a high of 40. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Fox News Commentary with Brian Kilmeade next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
It's Brian Kilmeade.
I can't wrap my head around how Gavin Newsom is suddenly the front runner to be the nominee on the Democratic side for President of the United States in 28. Despite years of negative stats, Newsom's numbers for popularity are going up in California. Why? The only thing he's done in the last 6 months is, let me see, attack Donald Trump. How does that help the people of California? I mean, his track record's abysmal. You know, people are leaving the state in droves. Homelessness that he promised to solve boomed under his reign. The cost of living in his state is the highest in the nation. When the Palisades were burning to the ground, when there wasn't enough water, it's less than a year ago. What did he do? Nothing. You would think that resume, he'd be automatically disqualified from being president of the United States. Instead, somehow, he's an automatic qualifier. Politics, ladies and gentlemen, are upside down.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime. News Talk STL right on my phone. Anywhere.
Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, the Italian Christmas donkey.
Yeah, da, da. Oh, no. Let it play. No. You can leave it up. Everybody needs to be familiar with this one.
Santa's got a little friend, his name is Dominic. The cutest little donkey, you'll never see him kick. When Santa visits his paisans, with Dominic he'll be.
Because of the rain, he cannot climb the hills of Italy. Hey! Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. I picked the opening song for Klose's Cabinet this week. Dominic the Donkey, Lou Monte. Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey. That's the Italian Christmas song. Welcome to Klose's Cabinet with our buddy Mark Klose from KC95, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Skip Weber unable to join us this week, but Marker is on the line. Marker, Merry Christmas and hello. How are you?
Dominic the Donkey
makes the Chipmunks sound like Beethoven. Oh my God. That is the lamest. I remember when you brought that song up and we were doing Glover, and I'm like, I had never, and I'm 80 years older than you are. I had never, I'm not Italian.
You're not Italian.
I had never heard that song before. I'd never hear it again, but there we are, and it's playing again.
When Santa visits his paisans with Dominic Kilby because the reindeer cannot climb the hills of Italy. Hey, it's
his paisan. Oh my God, what is that?
Are you a Christmas? Are you a Christmas music guy or not? I don't know. Something about I don't know, being emotional or enjoying things. That just doesn't seem like your personality.
Well, it's funny you should mention that after playing that horrendous song.
Yes.
I watched a movie the other night that I found by accident. I don't know if we talked about this before. It's called The Bishop's Wife from 1947.
Okay.
It is Cary Grant, David Niven, and Loretta Young. Yep. And they remade it maybe in the early 2000s with Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston. And it was not good at all. So the 47 version of this, first of all, was there ever anybody on the face of the earth that it was as cool as Cary Grant? That dude he just every scene he's in whatever movie, he owns it, man. He's great. But I was watching that the other night. My lovely bride Fern, with a gun to her head, decided to watch it with me. And I'll be honest with you, I started watching that and I kind of start tearing up. It
Yay!
Every time I watch it,
Wow.
That and Die Hard. The ultimate Christmas.
The ultimate Christmas movie.
So,
well, good for you.
I get a little sentimental, and it's when you've been doing as many Christmases as I have.
Yeah.
I got a couple under my belt, and family and stuff. So yeah, I am. I've said this numerous times. I am truly a blessed individual. I told my wife, if something happened to me, and I went tomorrow, a cement truck ran me over, or what, I don't know, whatever. I really couldn't argue. I mean, I've had that good of a life, man. I've been playing rock and roll for 53 years. Got a great wife, got a world-class kid. I got friends, and then I got you. And it's like, it is. I'm blessed. I couldn't ask for anything more. And, except maybe we lose Dominic somewhere, but that, I get it.
There is a vulnerable, emotional man underneath all of that, underneath all of that other stuff when it comes to Mark Klose. I love it. That's great stuff. I'm the same way, actually. I get a little bit, if you start thinking, especially this time of year, you start thinking about your family, you start thinking about the past, the future, all of those kind of things. And, but just I try to keep that less public, but it's definitely this time of year, bring it out of you for sure.
That'll hurt you in the long run.
Yeah.
No, all good. And, and look at, it's you can't, no complaints at all, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
At all.
Why is it that movie we talk all the time about rock stars and bands and how the legendary rock stars of the past, how that just doesn't really exist anymore. There's still a lot of music, maybe even more music available than in the past. So it's not that, but you just don't have the rock stars that stick around for 30, 40 years and just are just cool and relevant for decades. It's the same thing I think with movie stars. You were talking about Cary Grant, why is it that is it just old guys looking through rose-colored glasses, or was it really like a different time? They're like movie stars were just, I don't know, cooler, and rock stars were cooler than today. Are we just being old, or is there some truth to that?
Oh, I think, you're correct. I think a lot of it has to do with generational. That were older. You didn't have as many choices like music.
Yeah.
You know, the delivery of music now is coming from a million different locations. So you don't have to wait for your favorite radio station to play the new Beatles song or, you know, Taylor Swift. I'm releasing it. You can download it, you know, get it before it's even available in the record stores. The movie stars, maybe, you know, and everybody, if you're a movie star, an actor, everybody's got clunkers. You know, Sylvester Stallone got the Kennedy Center Award, and well, he should. Some of his stuff is great. And then,
and then he's got Throw Mama from the Train. Or
Throw Mama from the Train.
Ooh, that's a bad one.
Did you ever hear the story about that?
That it was originally supposed to go to Schwarzenegger. Is that it?
Schwarzenegger, and he read it. And he goes, "This is the suckiest script I've ever read." But he knew that he and Sly were in this competition.
Yes.
About making more movies. So he had his people put out the word that Sly was really, really,
that Arnold was it? Yes.
Really, really interested. Yes, really interested. Sly goes, "All right, I got to have it,"
right.
And he made it. And of course, Schwarzenegger's laughed his ass off, going, "I mean, it had to be one of the worst movies."
Yep. Hey, no, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Everybody's got a clunker. Everybody's got a clunker.
Yeah, that was quite the rivalry back in the day between those two, and now the way that they openly talk about it now is really when some of those stories are fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Well, and they made that. They were both in. That's Sly's big deal, but he's had Arnold in it, and Harrison Ford, and all these Bruce Willis, all these former big time action stars in it and stuff. So. The one, thing that I thought about this after watching this movie the other night from 1947, even before I was born, and that's saying something. But if you're this movie star like a Harrison Ford is 81 years old, I think, something like that, and he's in a show on Apple called Shrinking, which is like a sitcom, which is very, very fun. One of my favorite shows. And how often is he sitting at home? And, flips on the TV and cable, whatever. And here comes a movie, with him when he's Han Solo and he's like 29 years old or something. That's gotta, how we see pictures of ourselves every now and then you go, oh my God. Now he's got to watch it for an hour and 45 minutes. And go, never going to get there again. But I guess it's nice to have the history.
Yeah, it's probably a little easier to deal with that embarrassment when you're you're in your summer home in the Bahamas.
Yeah. I believe you.
Little easier to take than maybe one of us stumbling across our picture on the internet, from back in the day. So this time of year, of course, is a lot of New Year's resolutions and predictions and all of that, about to be done here as we start a new year. And I thought this was interesting. The internet. Folks on the internet, they are predicting the American traditions that they believe will fade away in the coming years. So I want to see if you agree. I want to see if you agree with these. So these are, longstanding American traditions that not necessarily in 2026, but that are on their way out
in the future.
Yeah, and probably won't be around for much longer, especially like our kids' generation or our grandkids' generation, things like that. Number one, class reunions. Social media has rendered them irrelevant because you can keep up with your classmates. You're more connected with your former classmates and you know what everybody's doing. And it's not like it's not the same. You already can keep an eye on the folks that you went to school with. And if you didn't care about the people anyway, you're probably not keeping up with them, and there's probably a reason for it. So they say because of social media, class reunions are irrelevant. I have never been to a class reunion. I've been invited, obviously. I have never attended a class reunion. So they've not ever been anything that I've been into or thought was important. So, I could definitely see it, but what do you think?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Prior to us talking, I just came from Maggie O'Brien's over in South County, and had 30 of my Vianney boys with me on a get together. We had 30 guys, a couple of guys from outside the state. We get together at Christmas time. 30. Our graduating class probably had like 170 in it. So, but 30 of those guys, it wasn't really even a reunion. It was just getting together.
Yeah.
And
do you guys do it every year? Is this like a group that does it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's different, and I could see that, like our boy, we had a boys' lake trip for years that my friends and I did. That you see the guys that you went to school with, maybe, and maybe that's the only time of year that you do it. I could see that for like small groups of friends, but as far as like the full blown, somebody, your student council president from 40 years ago is organizing the full blown class reunion. Yeah, I think is different. And
I think some of that has to do. You went to Hazelwood, right?
I did.
How big was your graduating class?
Oh, 200 and something. Yeah, no, it was. What was crazy is our graduating class was in like 200 or 300, something like that. But the incoming freshman class was over 1,000 people. So I had hundreds, but yeah, I was right before like a massive influx. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say my wife, my lovely wife Fern, of 43 years, went to McClure.
Oh, you know what?
North County.
I think I'm wrong about that. I think I was like 250th in the class of 500 because I was right in the middle. Maybe it was. I think it was more like 500. I think I was thinking about my number, which was right.
Absolutely.
No, it was closer to 500. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Fern goes to McClure, and this is before they separated, and it had like a McClure North.
Oh yeah.
And she'd go to school from 6 a.m. to noon, and another group would go from noon until 6 p.m.
Yeah, like an A, B, and C. We had that at Hazelwood too. My dad had that at Hazelwood before Hazelwood split. It would be an A, a B, and a C, and the A's would start at 6 o'clock in the morning and be done, like you said, by noon. The C's wouldn't start until almost noon and be at school till like 5 or 6 o'clock at night because they had to go in shifts because there was so many of them. Yeah, yeah.
I think her graduating class, and she would have been way back in the year 72. I'm older, but 72. I think she had 1,600 kids graduate with her.
Ooh.
And they went to Kiel Auditorium to get their diplomas because there was nowhere else you could put that many kids.
Yeah.
And she said, they're reading names, and she goes, they got to S and started the Smiths, and it took them about an hour and a half just to get John Smith. Stephen Smith, just forever and ever. Now, what I'm saying, the reason for that, it's harder maybe to have those special groups when you're in that big of a school, big public school. Again, with my group, I pretty much knew everybody in my class that I went, so it might be easier for the reunion to do it. But even that, Fern people come up to her and go, "Oh yeah, tell Fern that I graduated in '72 at McClure and blah blah blah," and she doesn't know that many people.
Yeah.
No way.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Again, school size, public versus smaller private or something like that. So, but I look forward to we got a good group and we hang. But keep going, Aaron. Keep tradition that's going away. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and I do agree with that, especially with social media, keeping people connected with the people that you care about.
Gotcha.
Class reunions, I could definitely see fading away. There's some obvious ones like trick or treating because trunk or treating is becoming such a big deal and like knocking on strangers' door. We've talked about that. I unfortunately I do see that shift happening. Daylight savings time is on the list. I would love to see that. I don't know if it'll ever actually happen. Here's one of the other really interesting ones. Large scale weddings. They're saying that more and more people are either are already in debt or don't want to go into debt, and that destination weddings or like the special destination weddings, things like that are so much more popular that your 200 or 300 person North County wedding with the Massacholi reception, like that kind of thing is going away for multiple reasons. The smaller, more focused event style deal, and that and because of the cost. What do you think?
The cost, yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think we talked about it on this show that some people are having weddings and they're charging admission.
Yes.
We talked about
yes.
But it's like, your presence is
buy tickets.
Requested at $45 a piece, and you get a delicious buffet meal with mascacholi, and 2 kinds of cheese. But yeah, after coming off a wedding, I boy, do I know, brother, the numbers are, and we weren't even at Beaner's was probably, I don't know, 6 people. No, Beaner's was probably about 160, something like that, people.
Yeah.
And you can bring up the numbers really, really quick. So I could get it, and and then you had a wedding dress and the photographer and flowers and limousine. I mean, the numbers just get crazy. And I know more and more dads that go to their daughters and say, hey, you want a big wedding? How about if I just cut you a check for blank?
Yeah.
And you can put it towards a house.
Yes.
Or whatever. Some of them take it. I talked to Beaner about that, and she wanted a bigger. I had never even known she wanted until she brought it up. But yeah, I could see them becoming more intimate and smaller. And yeah,
and that's what they're saying. They're saying the large scale big weddings, 200, 300 person weddings, not like, they're still going to be very, some very elaborate weddings and still very costly ones too. But those traditional large weddings. You mentioned some of the costs there. I DJ'd weddings for so long, so I've seen a lot of different things. Yeah. When you were mentioning the cost, I was thinking like the most ridiculous, like wastes of money I ever saw. And I saw this move a couple of times. The horse and buggy that would deliver the bride to the building, but like the bride literally gets in the thing like 20 feet away from the door. And like gets in like at the either next door or on the sidewalk about 20 feet away, and then the thing walks 20 feet, clop 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 clop, and gets out, and everybody's taking pictures and everything, and I'm asking around like, how much did that cost? Oh, $1,000 or whatever, maybe $500, like to take 15 steps. That is crazy.
The best one I ever saw, a friend of mine, this person, had a big wedding for their daughter, and they had, it was big. And have you ever seen the big ice sculptures? And they put either champagne or a cocktail drink of some sort, and then you hold your glass underneath it and it comes out of the ice sculpture. So there's 2 of these ice sculptures going on, and one of them is like an elephant, and the cocktails would come out of the trunk, and Fern and I were there, and she goes, I'm going to go get a cocktail. And she comes back and she didn't, I go, where's your cocktail? And she goes, look, and you look over at the ice sculpture with the elephant, and there's like 2 frat brothers sucking on the end of this trunk.
Oh no.
Just taking it in out of the trunk. And I'm like, that's beautiful, man. That's America there. That's absolutely the greatest thing I've ever seen at a wedding reception. Yeah. So yeah, you can drop coin in amazing ways and silly stuff.
Yeah.
And,
do you want a horse? Yeah. Do you want a horse to walk with you for 15 steps, or do you want to make a house payment? Like, like maybe there's Go ahead.
My father-in-law passed away a number ago, great guy. And we're figuring out what we're going to do and all that stuff. And the person, while we're figuring it out with the mortuary and all that stuff, and they go, what about doves? And I said, doves?
Yeah.
What about doves? And we could release 15 doves for like $300. And I'm like, well, unless we can shoot them and eat them later that night, no, we'll take a dove. Thank you.
No.
It's just, everything we do in life, no matter what it is, there's always those hidden add-ons, where you just quickly before I go and I'm going to take a trip. I'm looking at parking spaces up at Lambert, and they've got parking lot D, C, B, A. They got some hotels, And they had one, and some of them were like, parking, long-term parking, $5 a day. And I'm like, wow, that's great. That's, I don't care if it's, if they got shuttles, I can do that. So I go to it, and it was a hotel or one of them. I click it up, and it's like parking $5 a day, taxes $9.95 a day. Taxes are more than the parking. Like,
yeah.
What ain't $5?
There you go.
Brother, it's 15. The add-ons, baby, every time. Every time.
Exactly. And especially with weddings, they know that that's the time that they can gouge you. Yeah, I wanted to do one more here. There's other things like, yeah. I mean, it's just they know they got you. They know they got a sucker right there.
Absolutely.
Black Friday is on this list because of online shopping. The Miss America pageant is on this list, because of changing sensibilities. But here's one that that I'm glad is on this list, and I think it's I'm not sure this is a long running American tradition. This is more of one that has come and gone, or hopefully gone more recently. Massive gender reveal parties for your baby.
That's massive right now. That's big.
Is it still? I thought it was dying because of all the forest fires and accidents and deaths.
You know what? They do those things where you get those little pop things, and a mom holds one and the dad holds one, and they both pull them at the same time. And if it's a pink, it's a girl, and it's blue, it's a guy.
Yeah.
And every time the guy pulls it, and it goes off and hits him right in the jewels. Every time. So at least it's entertaining. I go, okay, I don't care what the kid is. This guy, and he's paying. But I think it's, I don't know, man.
How many times has it been like fireworks and they cause a fire, or there's like a plane that's going to spray something and the plane crashes, or, I mean, it's just ridiculous with some of these things.
Well, it's like when you go, now at a lot of weddings, after a church, you can't throw rice because the birds eat the rice and they drink water, swells up in their stomach, kills them. So you've got a bride and groom and like 100 dead chirpies all around you or something. But it's like just, I don't know.
I was at a wedding once where the bride, they were walking out of the church and they were walking on the steps. She didn't fall, but she got right in the eyeball. And like she's walking down the steps and the groom's trying to hold her up and she can't see. Yeah, maybe the rice wasn't a great idea.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the birds are digging it too. So yeah, it's like again, some of these, and you know what? I'd have to look that up. Why you threw rice? There's got to be some tradition to it.
I'm sure, and I think I actually probably used to know it too, but I haven't. There's one that's I haven't seen that. I haven't seen rice being thrown at a wedding in years.
Right.
So there's
churches, will not allow you to do it. The other one, and you remember this, I don't know as much, I'm older and spinning records, but the bride and groom dollar dance.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Some of these places, you're playing a slow song and they're dancing. I'd go through like 9 songs. I'd play, Lionel, Richie 5 times in a row. These guys are walking up with a load of money. And stuff. Like, I dig that, but I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
Traditions.
Yeah, I've done weddings where they've said like, where they've done every one of those kind of things to try to like get a little money. And I've done ones where they've said like, don't you dare do a dollar dance.
Don't do it.
It's a divider of people for sure. Marker, only a few minutes left here. I know that your year, as far as the band was concerned, was a big one for you guys. You played more gigs this year than any other year in the past, right?
Yeah. We finished up at 61 Roadhouse in Webster last Saturday night to a sold-out crowd. It was great. That was gig number 45 for the year.
Wow.
So I know why my back is killing me, but we had a great time. And you know this from playing with bands.
Oh yeah.
If you don't have good guys in the band, it ain't worth it. If you got to deal with drama and a head case, never mind. Here, and I've got the greatest guys in this band, and we get unbelievable amount of support. I look out and I see a lot of the same people all the time coming to see us, whether it's in Illinois or here in St. Louis, and it's just I mean, we're doing it. None of us are getting rich, but we're having such a good time because people are partying and jumping up and down. There's nothing like live music, man. There's nothing like it. Get a crowd moving, you know it from. And so we've got 33 in the books for next year already.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there anything coming up? Is there anything coming up in the new year? Anything to promote with the band coming up now?
Oh God, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we got 4 in January. Or we get a couple of weeks off, which is nice. Let my back recover. January 11th will be our first one, and that'll be out at the Dog Prairie out there in St. Paul. And then we got 3 other gigs in January. Like I said, we are all over the place next year. We're looking forward to it, man. I learned a couple of songs, put some keyboards in it, Chuck. We're just having fun. We are just having a really, so again, everybody that's been with us, could have done it without you. And aside from my band and aside from Tony's band, get out there and go see these people play.
Support local music. Yes. Yeah.
None of them are getting rich. A lot of them are probably losing money when they add gas into it. You know, we got absolutely some of the best players you will find in the country coming right out of St. Louis. You know, I mean, Jason, who you work with, and Jimmy Griffin with them, you know, and there's just, it's an amazing amount of talent coming out of St. Louis.
Yeah. Our buddy Jonathan Heslop with Platinum Rock Legends, all the Jason Nelson, as you mentioned. I know he's got an NX, I think it's an NXS, maybe NXS U2. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Yeah, it's a double. NXS is one of them. He's got a tribute show coming up that I'm going to be promoting for him here in the coming weeks. That is going to be awesome. But we have a great local music scene that continues to thrive as we go into the new year. So support local music.
And a lot of that has to do with one Skip.
You know it,
because he puts money into El Monstero, Celebration Day, Song for Soldiers. He is, loves music so much, and we like to call him a soft touch. If we're doing something, there's charity involved, I'll go, let me call Skip, and he's always there for us. He just loves it, but we always tell him, come on up to say a few words. No, I'm good. Yeah. He just loves the music so, and he is responsible for a lot of great live music that gets played in St. Louis and Illinois.
Weber Chevrolet, Skip Weber has sponsored so many events, live music shows. It is unbelievable. And of course, Weber Chevrolet, the sponsor.
Number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah. Yep. Amen. Sponsor of this segment. Skip couldn't be with us today, but of course, if you're looking for a new or used vehicle, check out what's happening at all 3 Weber Chevrolet dealerships. Also, don't forget about Weber Ford in Granite City, the entire Weber Automotive Group, and learn more at weberchevrolet.com. Mark Klose, KC95. Always great to talk with you, buddy. Thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day. I guess when we talk, it'll be Christmas Eve when we talk to you next week. That'll be amazing. So, thanks for everything.
You will not be talking to me on Christmas Eve. I will not be available. So let me wish everybody, you and yours and your family and Skip and everybody down, at the station, just Joe and Jeff and everybody down there and all the listeners out there, man. Your support means the world to everybody, to all of us, and we appreciate it. Have a great Christmas, a New Year, a Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Do it with your family and friends, and it'll be the absolute best that you can have.
Amen. And back at you, brother. Merry Christmas, Marker. Thanks for all your help this year, and look forward to talking to you in a couple weeks. Thanks, dude.
All right, bud.
Yeah.
Take care.
Great stuff there. Mark Klose from KC95. All right. We went a little bit long there. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show next here on Colombo Company.
Hey, chingity ching. It's Dominic the Donkey.
Follow Tony Colombo on Twitter at Tony Colombo Talk.
And then the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL. John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad.
Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I've often said we need to watch what is happening in Europe, how the face, the culture of Germany, France, other nations are changing because of unlimited and unvetted migration. I should have included Australia. It is literally an island to itself, free of migrants simply roaming across the borders as they do in Europe, but it is not immune to what is happening in Europe. We saw that this last weekend. A father and son, Islamists who decided to kill anyone and everyone they could at a beach gathering. Jews were everywhere, celebrating the beginning of Hanukkah. That was their target. This was not an overnight radicalization. A member of the Australia-Israel Jewish Affairs Group said, "We have warned years of accumulating anti-Semitism would lead to this carnage." Now, slowly, the Australian leadership admits, yes, this was a terrorist act. But Australians should demand, why did you not have police in place? That day, there was nothing, no one to stop the killers except one unarmed Muslim man, a Muslim trying to protect Jews. What is Australian leadership doing? Calling for more gun laws, saying there's no place for anti-Semitism. Lip service. We should learn from that tragedy.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
So I hear an out-of-towner asking someone, where's the best place to eat? Before they could respond, I said, Cafe Napoli. Where? Well, I said, Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, and then you got Napoli Kirkwood, plus you got Napoli Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. You'll find Napoli everywhere. It's not too early to book a party and buy gift cards. Cafe Napoli.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Hunters, you know what's going on. Duck and goose season. Finish strong with Whistle Pig Outdoors. Mike Ferguson here. Get your ice rippers to punch through that frozen water for your decoy spread, and get your meat eater gear, cookbooks, and rubs. And also, Whistle Pig is one of only 5 First Light dealers in Missouri. Whistle Pig Outdoors on Main Street in Troy. Visit them online, whistlepigoutdoors.com, whistlepigoutdoors.com. Whistle Pig, get back out there.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story, the deadly plane crash of golfer Payne Stewart.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 119.94.1 News Talk STL. Went super long there with Mark Klose from KC95. Klose's Cabinet, always a good time. If you missed any of that, or you missed any of the 2 o'clock hour, our discussion with the former mayor of Ferguson, James Knowles, or Larry Connors, make sure you are subscribed to our podcast. It's the best way to make sure you never miss anything that happens on the show. Just subscribe to Colombo and Company on your favorite podcast platform, because we put the show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day, and we put it on every podcast platform. So wherever you like to get podcasts on that platform, subscribe to Colombo and Company. Don't forget, we will be carrying the president's speech tonight. He is making a primetime address to the nation at 8 o'clock Central Time, our time here in St. Louis, immediately following Larry Connors USA. And we will be carrying that live So make sure you tune in for Larry and then stick around for the president. And we'll unpack whatever the president talks about this afternoon when we get back here tomorrow. Colombo Company, Ashland and I back tomorrow at 2. In the meantime, keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, then the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Craving authentic Cuban flavors? Come home to Havana 1961, where family recipes passed down through generations come to life in every bite. From chef and owner Mama Maria's